I am Tatiana Monet. Welcome to my channel where I document my journey into motherhood, radical self-love, becoming a small business owner, my ascension journey, and living out my authentic truth.
This isn't the person, this is a lesson. And I was like, yeah, that would have been really nice. It would have made things so much easier. But then the moment I had that thought, I thought, if I knew going into relationship, friendships, jobs, whatever, that this wasn't gonna last, would I have shown up the way that I did? Would I have shown up as fully? Would I have shown up, with as much love and care and, would I have invested as much as I did? Would I have shown up with as much chaos or whatever you showed up in that situation with? And I don't think so. I think if we knew ahead of time you're entering into this friendship or this relationship or whatever, that, hey, this relationship isn't going to last. This friendship isn't going to last. This isn't going to be your person for the rest of your life. This is a lesson that you need to learn. I don't think we would show up the same. And I think us not showing up the same would directly affect and impact us receiving the lesson in the first place. Because I was just thinking how any relationship I've ever been into, romantic, even friendship, but especially romantic, I always thought this was gonna last forever. I started dating when I was 16, and from that moment, from that first relationship, when I first was boyfriend and girlfriend with this person at 16, I was like, this is my person. I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life. And anyone I ever dated since then, that relationship, I was like, oh, this is my person. I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life. And looking back, sometimes it can feel like, ouch, this hurts, because I thought I went in, I assumed that this was going to be, my person. This was going to be, this was it. And it can get you to kind of not trust yourself and trust your intuition, because when you enter into these relationships, you feel called to, or at least I have, I felt called and drawn to these people, and I trusted that feeling, that internal feeling, because I was like, this is my person. The way I feel is telling me this is my person. But what if that feeling was drawing you to that person, so you could gain that lesson? And you just weren't aware. You just weren't aware that this person was a lesson and not, the one or whatever. Does that make sense? I guess I'm just saying, I'm just looking back in retrospect, and feeling apologetic towards myself for the self-doubt and for the not trusting my intuition after something bad happened to me. Because I go into a situation or a job or whatever and think, oh, this is it. Boom, my intuition's telling me apply for this job. My intuition's telling me to date this person, to befriend this person, to move here, to whatever. And then when it falls apart and crumbles, it's so easy to be oh, I don't trust my intuition. I can't trust myself. I can't trust the world. This hurt. I went into it thinking that this was going to be the one. And it wasn't. It fell apart. So now obviously I was wrong. My intuition was wrong. When that's not the case, what if your intuition was drawing you to this person so you could gain a key lesson that you need to integrate, so that you can, once you do have, that person or that dream job or whatever, you're prepared. As say if it's like school, right? Say if these people you've dated or these jobs you've had before your dream job, what if they were just school, right? You have to go to first grade, then second grade, then third grade, so that, in fourth and fifth and elementary and middle and whatever, so that when you get to high school or college or whatever, you're prepared. You have to grab all these little breadcrumbs so that you are prepared. Does that make sense? I don't know. This is all just coming to me right now while I'm driving. And I just wanted to share it, and I wanted to record it for myself so I can later watch this and process it myself and meditate on it and see how it applies in my life. But I definitely feel it definitely resonates with me, because I do that. I when I invest in something, I invest. When I fall in love, I fall, and I fall hard and heavy. Whether that's a friendship, whether that's a love interest, a family member, a career. Like when I find, like, it takes me a little bit to make a decision, but once I make that decision, once my mind is made up, I am committed and I am loyal, and I go all in. All of myself is present in my decision. And it can hurt deeply when that falls apart. When that decision is not what I thought it was gonna be, it hurts me deeply. And I tend to have the pattern of, like, I get hurt deeply and I kind of go backwards, where like this pain, this like shock to my system pushes me back into old patterns, pushes me back into old things, where it's just like, well, F it, that didn't work out. Obviously, you know, I didn't grow, or like whatever it is. Obviously I'm being punished by God, or like whatever it is that comes up, whatever old pattern comes up for me, I tend to like revert back. Well, at least that was my truth for like the last few years, up until I would say 2021, 2022. That's not my truth anymore. Where when these things happen, like when things fall apart that I thought were gonna last forever, it still hurts me deeply, and it still is a lot to process, and it still breaks my heart and shatters me in a million pieces. But now, partly probably because it has happened so much, but also in the breaking me down and in the pieces, because it's happened so much, that means I've had to build myself up again so many times. And each time I've gotten better at it, I've gotten smarter at it, I've been more compassionate with myself. Like each heartbreak, each disappointment, each failure, whatever, each time I've gotten softer with myself. Each time, instead of going to blame or hate or anger, I've somehow over time, I've been able to cultivate peace in the breaking down of myself. I've been able to cultivate just kind of giving up, just being like, oh wow, this, like surrendering, just being like, this is failing, and because I know internally how much I've put in, how much I've tried, how much I've shown up, and how much I've shifted and, you know, metamorphosized to make this thing work that does not want to work. I give myself peace and grace, where it's just like, it's not me. I've done all that I could do. I've tried all that I could try. And this thing obviously is just falling apart right now. This is not the time for it, or it just simply does not belong in my life at all. And I no longer am like, at least I'm trying and setting the intention to no longer attack my intuition and no longer let these heartbreaks make me not trust myself anymore. Just because something fell apart, or just because a decision I chose is now crumbling, does not mean I'm bad at making decisions. I'm not intuitive. I don't know what's good for myself. It doesn't mean any of those things at all. At all. You know? And I think it's so easy to say, I just wish I knew. I just wish I knew 10 steps ahead of me that this was gonna fall apart. And it's like, I wish I knew because then you wouldn't have made the decision. I wish I knew that relationship was gonna fall apart. I wish I knew this marriage was gonna end like this because you wouldn't have entered it. Which means you wouldn't have gotten the lessons, right? I wish I would have known I was gonna get fired from that job. I wish I would have known I, you know, was gonna have that miscarriage, or I was gonna have an unexpected C-section. Like whatever it is for you, whatever that thing is, I know you've been in a situation where something has happened and you look back and you're like, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known, because you wouldn't have done it. And if you wouldn't have done it, you wouldn't have experienced it. You wouldn't have gained the lesson, the wisdom, the love, the knowledge, the grace, the peace, the surrender that only comes from the breaking down. Those gifts, those virtues, those, like, that softness only comes from breaking down. It's like at least for me personally, there's definitely been early time in my life, like, where I was jaded and my edges were hard.
Then use the left lane to merge onto US 1 North. Turn left.
You know, so yeah, I hope that made sense. It made sense to me. I feel it. I get what I'm saying, and I hope that it also serves you as well. And I hope that I don't always have to learn things in hindsight and retrospect. I hope there's a point where I can get the lessons while I'm going through it, and I feel like that's what's happening for me now, where I feel
In 10 miles, turn right onto Colchester Highway.
I feel intuitively a transition's about to happen in my life, like, or like has happened. Like, so many things have changed for me, and there's so many things I desire, and to get to where I desire, I know things have to change. I know I have to change my behaviors, and you know. So I guess I feel like this is coming to me now to kind of help me be like, okay, so you've learned this in hindsight, so apply it to your present life now. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to just learn things in retrospect, but what if we could actually, in the moment of the transition, in the moment of the chaos, what if you can be present enough to see what's going on? Maybe, like, for me personally, I don't know the next move in my life. I don't know all that's about to happen at all, but I feel, and because my past experience has already shown me that when things are tumultuous, when things fall apart, when these experiences, when these heartbreaks or whatever, when they happen, these disappointments, I've always gain a new lesson, a new perspective, a new skill. I always gain softness. I always gain more self-love, more understanding of myself and others. And I always gain. As much as I lose, and sometimes I lose a lot in these experiences and these disappointments, as much as I lose, I always gain more. I always gain more. And a lot of times these gains are internal and not tangible gains, but I do believe I will gain tangible things as well. So that's my message. That's what's on my mind during this drive, is that take the time to realize and reflect that if you're anything like me and your life experience has been anything similar to mine, that as much disappointment and heartbreak you've probably experienced in your life, if you take the time to reflect and really sit, I bet you could see and count your blessings and count that you have gained more than you've lost. And I know, trust me, girl, I know those losses, they hurt. Those losses hurt. Those heartbreaks hurt. Sometimes they take years to process and understand and to heal. And, you know, they hurt. And there are things that have happened many years ago for me that still hurt. And they probably will. And that's all right. But what I'm just trying to say, like, I understand those pains, those disappointments, those things hurt. You know, when you dream up your life and you thought it was going to be one way, and now you're standing there just like, what the hell is this? Whose life is this? This is not my life. This is not what we agreed on, God. We said, you know, I was going to be happily married and have a business and you know, have children and this, and now you're telling me I can't get pregnant, and now you're telling me the person I love doesn't love me anymore, or whatever. You apply your situation in there. And it's so easy, man, to be like, fudge this, fudge the path, fudge God, fudge the world. None of this, it's so easy to go down that road, but that's not the truth, and you know that's not the truth. In your soul, deep down in your heart, you know that is not the truth. This pain is temporary, and this pain exists because it's there's a part of your soul, there's a part of your being that's trying to get your attention. There's something that is calling out to you and saying, hey, this hole was created because you need to fill it with something else. You're trying to fill this hole with something that it's not gonna work, sweetheart.
Stay in the left.
And so I'm just here to encourage you to really take the time to reflect and see that when you've experienced these great pains, you've always gained more than you lost. Or I hope that's the case. For me, when I really sit down and think about it, it is the case, and I have a feeling that is the case for you as well. And so I guess I just wanted to encourage you that if you're going through a tumultuous time right now, or maybe it's not right now, maybe it's something that's coming, or something you just got out of, or maybe you are in the middle of it, I just want to say, this loss, baby girl, it hurts, and it's okay that it hurts, and it's okay that you're angry and you're confused and you're upset. Feel those feelings, and in the same time, hold on to, grasp onto the fact, the truth, the reality that you will gain more than what is being lost right now, more than what is being taken from you. 10 times, tenfold, you will reap the reward. These things that are being ripped out of your hands, these things that are falling apart, these disappointments, you're gonna look back, and one day you're gonna understand. And if today is not that day, that is okay. You can be angry today, that's all right. Be angry, but in your anger, I just want you to hold on. Even if it's like a little voice, even if it's the smallest part of you, hold on to that faith. Hold on to my words. These aren't even my words, these are God's words. These are not even my words, but hold on to the words, the truth, that it's gonna be all right, and you're gonna gain more than you have lost. So that's it. That is it. I love you, and I hope that I hope that this finds you and resonates with you in the exact divine timing it was meant